Hey, and welcome back to my channel. I am the Spell Singer, and this is my ongoing review of the Gamebook series Sorcery by Steve Jackson. Classic and epic Gamebook series. And in this review, I'm going to give a quick look at this title with its book number. We'll take a look at all the different covers you can get with this one. And then I'll read the blurb, talk a bit about the plot, and look at the game mechanics with that adventure sheet. And I'll run the artwork through this video and have a little chat about the artwork, talk about some of my own likes and dislikes, any fun facts, any errors, and we'll finish on a summary and a score out of 10 for this book. So this is Sorcery Book 2. This is Kharé, Cityport of Traps. This was published in 1984, and it was by Steve Jackson. Good old Steve Jackson. He'd obviously gone off and done his little thing back in the early 80s while fighting fantasy was still new. And he's given us this epic series of books. And the artwork, cover and the internal illustrations are all by John Blanche again. So Mr. Blanche is back on board and they are, as always, amazing, amazingly odd, suitably weird for this series. So the covers, there were various covers from Puffin, Wizard and Scholastic for this book, a bit like Shaman Tanty Hills. So you've got the original covers of the book designed by, like I say, John Blanche. And when the book was republished by Wizard, the covers were reworked by Mel Grant. And of course they were redone again for Scholastic by Robert N. Bull. Now in order, I think I've got the order right, we have this 1984, the wraparound cover that you can see here with the orange triangle in the corner giving the number. And then of course in 1985, Adventure Gamebook's red banner showed up, which is this one here. It seems to be the most popular one. And then 1987, Dragon Sorcery banner took over and they gave us this one here. And then in 2003, Wizard show up with this cover here. And then shortly followed by Scholastic in 2019, and they gave us this kind of circle cover, which is the one I've got, because remember, like I said in the last review, I didn't really get into these at the time, which was strange. I just knew about them, I just didn't get into them for some reason. So, and then of course there's this strange never released cover, which is this one here, which as far as I know never made it to publication, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but this one here never saw the light of day. Right, let me read the blurb anyway, so I've got my copy here. Are you brave enough to enter the infamous city port of Kharé, where every alleyway is crawling with danger? It is a place bristling with brutal traps for the unwary. You are a sorcerer casting spells to dodge a slime eater, the god of malice, and other enemies that mean certain death. Will you survive to continue your quest to find the crown of kings? So it's quite a short blurb there, but it gives you kind of like a little snippet into this world that Jackson has given us. So the plot for Cityport of Traps, we have Kharé. So it begins with you standing outside the gate to Kharé, the Cityport of Traps, after your adventure over the Shaman Tanty Hills. You can see from this map here. You can see where we started out in Analand, we progressed over the Shaman Tanty Hills, and now we're at Kharé Cityport. Now, this is kind of like a fortified city, and it's the only way to cross the Jabaji River. Now, while passing through this kind of dangerous city, you have to try and locate these 4 lines of a spell, which will open the northern gates and allow you passage out of the city and across the backlands, which is of course book 3. And similar to Livingstone's City of Thieves, there are several routes through this city and a wide variety of locations to visit, situations in which you may become kind of entangled, involved in. And the city boasts a very open world environment for you to explore and locate all the different holders of each line of this spell that you need. Now, remember Vic and Flanker from the Shaman Tanty Hills? Those kind of non-player characters that you can get involved in. Well, both can be found loitering within Kharé. So you got to keep your lookout for them. You get a little reference at the end of Shamantanti Hills to have a look at. It refers to references obviously in book 2, this one, and it tells you the references to go to if you do bump into them. So it's kind of like looking out for them. Do you remember the reference? Will determine whether or not you actually recognize them. So that's quite a clever little trick. Yeah, so they both show up. The opponents that you have to fight in this book are fairly few, but will include quite a powerful battle with a death wraith that requires all your reserves of strength and luck to beat it. And the city is packed with spell ingredients to aid you on your quest, interactive characters to meet, and friends of old that can kind of point you in the right direction towards that north gate. And that's the story. So it's a simple story, but it's a really strong adventure, and a lot of fan favourites is this one. For me, it kind of brings the series alive. You had the Shamantanti, the travel, now you've got the urban environment to explore. So it really comes alive, this series, in this particular book. Now the game mechanics and the adventure sheet, for Sorcery, it continues to push the envelope sort of in this category with that magic system we talked about. It's still being employed to a really high standard. Some items you can find with unique combat rules are introduced in this one as well. Sometimes those items can get a little overcomplicated, but they're still mechanically sound, which is good. And on a whole, the basic fighting fantasy system is used to really good effect in this book. Similar to Shamantanti Hills, the rules offer you a choice of that simple adventurer where no magic is used and the fights are run according to standard fighting fantasy combat. But of course you can also play advanced adventure, which relies heavily on magic, so play the sorcerer, which I think most people do, let's be honest. If you choose this advanced play, you will have a series of magic spells like we chatted on before, and they can be used costing between 1 to 4 stamina points, and you may also call upon the help of Libra. So remember Libra, the goddess of justice. Once in the adventure, she can be called upon, again, till the events of the 7 serpents. So you can get her once, ask for her help just once in each book, and then that's it till the 7 serpents. And in calling on her, you may ask for 3 things. You've got revitalization, which kind of restores all your skill, your stamina, and your luck points to their initial level. And you can ask for escape, which kind of allows you to get out of a sort of really nasty situation, where the text offers it. Or you can ask for removal of curses, which can take place at any time, really. So if you have this curse, then you can ask for it to be removed, or any disease that you may have caught along the way. Now, there's some really cool little game mechanics in this one as well, little puzzles that you've got to get involved in. So first one, the first line of the spell, you come across this fella, which I'll put the picture up here actually. This guy, he's got this, you bump into him in his little house, and you've got this cool little card puzzle for you to sort of get through. I'll read it to you actually because it'll make a bit more sense. So this picture here kind of explains it. And this is what it says. You follow him into the study, an elegant room lined floor to ceiling with books. You converse with him on the way and learn that he is a sage and scholar who knows and teaches local children. He seems to be a fairly peaceful fellow, quite out of character with the city he lives in. He explains he has a good life and wishes to spend it doing what he can to help civilize the city. And as it is apparent that he may be able to help you with your quest, you ask him if he knows anything of the spell needed to open the North Gate. Indeed, I know 1 line of the spell, he says, and this I will gladly tell you if you can help me with a problem I am having. You agree to help him if you can. I've recently been trying to decipher some runes. I am working on an exercise, but I am now stuck as I do not know which runes follow in the sequence. Which would you say should follow? Okay, so it says you've got some knowledge of runes and study the problem carefully. Look at the sequence depicted in the illustration, which is here. And choose the rune that you think follows. And of course it gives you like a reference underneath. So you have to kind of work out the order that they follow in. And it's not immediately obvious. It's quite a tricky one, but you do need to do it to get the next line of the spell. But like I said, that's just the first one. So there's another one a bit later on where you have this sort of basic mathematical problem, and he'll only give you the line if you can solve that. The Death Wraith that I mentioned earlier holds another one. And then the fourth one, the fourth and final one, is held at this kind of temple where the statue is held. It's quite a cool puzzle. Korga, the idol, is the statue. And from a message which reads, "On Korga's face you must kiss a cross and finish on the lips. For answers to your questions must not err, not on else she spits." So from that, you've got to kiss various parts of this stone face to form a cross. So you can get clues of where to kiss first, the ear, the nose, the eyebrow, but you've got to form a cross of kisses on this statue. To receive the information it's held within. It's a tricky puzzle, nonetheless. It's a clever set piece though, and it won't be easily forgotten. And that's what that looks like. So there's some random game mechanics for you. But the adventure sheet, which you can see here, exactly the same as the last one. You've got your skills, stamina, your luck, a place for your gold and treasure, some provisions, your equipment and artifacts, and of course you carry everything over from the past game, a bit like Way of the Tiger. That kind of character progression is a really strong point of this series. And underneath that you've got your bonuses, your penalties and curses, and then any clues and notes. So that works really nicely. No change from the last one. Right, the artwork. The artwork in this book, this black and white map here, was one of John Blanche's images. Really nice depiction of the world. And these illustrations generally continue to be of a very high quality, as you would expect from John Blanche. The images of the city itself are something I would like to have seen a bit more of, but there are kind of those that depict this kind of beautifully higgledy-piggledy structures throughout the city. There's lots of cats scampering across the streets and bizarre-looking characters that are kind of like mooching around in the alleyway. So that's all really great. And it kind of helps you settle in and immerse yourself into this city. Blanche really captures the feel of this world, its darkness, but also its beauty, with diverse characters, lots of obscure-looking buildings, and a sense of evil behind all these closed doorways. And what there was plenty of were all the interior artworks of these sort of shops and stores, inns and taverns. The detail in these books is very high, and even though I sort of encountered plenty of these places, I know that still some that I may have missed. So when I come back to this book, there'll be a place I've not gone into, or a market stall that I've not checked. But really strong artwork, and of course my favourite one here, this kind of bizarre encounter you have. It'd probably be more easier to read it to you. So you've got this encounter towards the sort of 2/3 mark of the book, and it reads as follows. So this will give you an idea of what John Blanche had to go on. Your blow lands squarely in the chest of the foul undead creature. The living corpse reels from its power. But though the blow would have felled any mortal being, it does not kill this monstrosity. Instead, it breaks its body up into 6 components. And all 6 now surround you, clawing, biting, kicking and shoving. Your battle is now against a head, torso, 2 arms, 2 legs, all of which are attacking you at the same time. If you will continue to fight with your weapon, you will hack at the bits of the body whose scores are. And then it gives you a breakdown of the skill and stamina of each body part. And the stamina is generally 1, and the skill nothing above 3. So it's not a particularly hard battle, but an ingenious one, and brilliantly drawn and shown here by Mr. Blanche. Right, my likes and dislikes for Kharé, Cityport of Traps. So this is the book where the Sorcery series really hits the stride, and the intensity of narrowly avoiding death after death while struggling to meet all the goals becomes this sort of defining character of the series from this point onwards. And the monsters are unique, interesting to fight. The puzzles sort of thematically appropriate and reasonably challenging, and you can really get lost in the exploration of this kind of adventure. And the city almost becomes like a character unto itself because it's so well described. It's almost like having another character. Due to its sort of overwhelming presence and colourful description, it kind of really brings life into this adventure. And I love the way the contacts you made in Book 1, Shaman Hills, will resurface here in Book 2, provided you made the right decisions, the right choices when you bumped into them, if you bumped into them. So that's really cool. And further to this, some contacts will show up much later in the final book. So there's some really nice game design, which ties in the story brilliantly. And there's really not much to dislike about this one, this game book, which is testament to how well it's constructed and written. You don't really have any major dislikes. So yeah, way to go, Steve-O. Right, my fun facts for Book 2. So there was this iOS Android conversion not long ago for this book, for this series. It was produced by Inkle Studios, released in 2013. I say not long ago. That doesn't seem like long ago to me. The first puffin printing has the Penguin Books logo on the title page instead of the puffin one, along with other points noting it as a penguin book. A bit weird. So as a result, there's no Puffin Books publication information, as with the first Puffin edition of the Shaman Hills. There's also a number of features of the Sorcery series that appear to have sort of inspiration in classical mythology. So if you read through these books and you like your classical mythology, you can pick up on these. For example, the Harpies, and the blind seven nobles of Kharé, the god-headed Hydra, the bronze statue, and the divine aid offered by the goddess Libra. So in fact, many of these characters are found in the story of Jason the Argonauts, and specifically similar events and characters from that movie. You also have the following parallels. So the bronze statue that you can find can be destroyed by removing a plate in its knee, in much the same way as the giant bronze warrior Telos is stopped in that film. So yeah, in the Greek myth, it's a sort of nail which must be removed, I think, or a vein which must be cut, or something like that. And also Libra can be called on in this book 4 times. 4 times in all, and in that film, Jason, he can only call on the aid of Hera 4 times. It's an element which is absent in the Greek myth. So some really nice tie-ins in the material to our own mythology. Works brilliantly. It only fuels the link between the world of Titan and our own world, which has been touched on before. But yeah, I love that. I think that's very clever. So there's a couple of fun facts for you. There's also a couple of errors as well, nothing too bad. Reference 49 offers you an opportunity to test your luck in order to get off your horse. But you must be unlucky to actually get off of it. Not lucky. Don't know, that might be a continuity thing, I'm not sure, but it's a bit harsh since not only does this death wraith likely have a higher skill, when you meet this death wraith, a higher skill than your character, wizard character certainly, but you need to pass 2 successive skill checks to even hurt it once. So that's a tough battle, maybe a bit too tough, but I don't know, it might not be an error, it might just be Jackson throwing his weight around. There's reference 446 as well. It tells you to deduct 4 stamina points for casting the Howl spell, which costs 2, not 4. Yeah, if you meet Vic at the festival, remember Vic from the first book, you can bump into him at this festival on reference 352. And you have no spell lines. He'll guide you to reference 61. There you'll meet Lortag for the first time, even if you've already met him. So it's kind of written in that way that you can only meet him there. And you've even if you've killed his pet's back from the dead. Yeah, so there's that. You can then proceed to the festival and then meet Vic again for the first time. So it kind of loops around, but it's you can still play this book perfectly well without having to stumble on this loop. So there's that. The same applies to meeting Flanker, actually, at the festival, reference 111, with no spell lines. He'll guide you to reference 140 to meet Lortag. And since you can just walk from Lortag to Flanker, you can meet Lortag for the first time, however many times you want. It'll always say you meet him for the first time. There's just a few little errors, but nothing to get in a twist about. So to give you a summary and a score for this epic book. Now, Kharé, Cityport of Traps is the second story, obviously in this Sorcery series, Sorcery epic, Following on from Shaman-Tanti Hills, the magic system is still fun and innovative. John Blanche's illustrations provide the right tone and feel for an adventure, and the character progression is still, very novel, adding a kind of dimension over the regular fighting fantasy books. And all of this was true of the Shaman-Tanti Hills, of course, and it's still true here, only on a much larger scale. The biggest difference is the setting. The first book was like a travel log, taking you through the hills and the villages, and this book is set in the city that's full of thieves, murderers, and traps. The plot is similar. You need to get through to the other side of the city, but this time there's more than just walking. There's this north gate, which is wizard locked, and only by finding those 4 lines I mentioned of the spell are you able to pass through it. So it's great to have that kind of urban environment after such an epic first book across those hills. Now in book 2, Steve Jackson starts to sort of let loose with his bizarre sensibilities, all his strange characters and situations. And there's a sense that everyone in this city is borderline mad, borderline crazy. John Blanche joins in with the fun here, giving some amazing illustrations, similar to those of Ian McCaig in The City of Thieves. The book is really well balanced, and finding the right path through shouldn't take too many attempts, but it may not be immediately obvious getting that true path. There are some nice puzzles to solve in Kharé, most which are sort of important and provide essential clues, or indeed lines of the spell. Lortag's puzzle is perhaps a bit too obscure, that image we showed earlier about the cards, and the kissing ritual on Korga, perhaps a bit too deadly, a lot of sort of hidden death traps in there, but it shouldn't take more than a few attempts to sort of get through these. And overall, Kharé displays all the strengths of the Shaman-Tanti Hills and turns them up a notch, if you like. The magic system is just as good, but applied in a more interesting situation here. Here you really feel like a wizard. You get to use your spells a lot more, and you get a lot more of these ingredients, which is just as well because you're going to need them for book 3. And the setting, the characters are more flavourable, the illustrations have a lot more inspiration. It's tougher than Shaman-Tanti Hills, but not so much that it feels like a separate adventure. It's just the right level, very well balanced. Continuity is key when writing a series like this, a series of adventures with one character, and Steve Jackson nails it with this second adventure, just in the way that Smith and Thompson did in The Way of the Tiger series. Now, Kharé is a difficult book to complete, but as Jackson employs kind of these unravelling puzzles approach rather than this kind of conventional linear path like Livingston tended to do, it is tough, but it is also very compelling. It's brilliant, and it kind of keeps you wanting to revisit and trying to solve all these puzzles and find that true path. Really pulls you back. Due to the kind of rich environments and all the strong descriptions, the story never really gets stale, which in turn adds to like that replayability value that I'm always banging on about. And after the relatively straightforward approach of Steve Jackson employed with the first Sorcery book, Kharé can come as a bit of a shock, but it is brilliant. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant book, however you look at it. Now, this book is also, it has this kind of location that is lethal but strange, where Blanche's internal art suits the truly bizarre nature of its setting. The world building has increased here as well, touching on the events to come and the greater lands of the Backlands. In some ways, it's a bit groundbreaking. It's a bit of a groundbreaking book. Cityport of Traps has it all. It's got the intrigue, it's got the adventure, the progression, the imaginative characters. With quality descriptive writing from Jackson, he really finds his place here, giving us a tough yet not impossible adventure and the desire to sort of continue into book 3. So you sum all that up, it's got to be an 8 out of 10 for book 2, Kharé, Cityport of Traps. It's utterly brilliant, and it just gets you all hyped up for the next book we're going to review, which is number 3, The Seven Serpents. So that's my review. I hope you liked it. I'll try not to leave it quite so long until the next one. I know those of you that are following as I do these, it's been a while, but we'll review the next one. So if you liked it though, give it a thumbs up, maybe comment, let me know how you found this one back in the day. Or have you not read it yet? If not, I strongly recommend it. Maybe think about sharing it. And if you want to subscribe, go ahead. And I will catch you all in that next review.